Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I met with Corporal Pottie and Reserve Officer Boardman at the Pubnico Library for a meeting in regards to my complaints. So if you guys like this type of content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Explain this. Why don't you want to be filmed, Shayne?
Because I just don't.
But at this point, we're here because of a reason, right? And it's to do with the complaints process. And the complaints process isn't against me. It's against the conduct that you did, and that's why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the past, your partner has said he doesn't remember the conflict resolution that I tried to perform. You've acted in the same way multiple times, and you're the subject of the complaint. I didn't perform a formal complaint on you. I performed informal complaints on you because we have had rapport in the past, and I do think that you have the capacity to become an individual that would do good things for policing. I performed a formal complaint as well as informal complaints against Chetwin because I don't believe that with him.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he's spoken to me in the past has been unacceptable in my opinion. And like we've had conversations, and I think you're a good person. I said that to Chris the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think Sean is a good person too. He's just a bit of an asshole. Like he wouldn't be my friend, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's important to record these things and have a record of these things because in the past you guys don't have a record of them. My records of our interactions are the only records.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had situations where you've antagonized me, you've threatened me, you've pursued me. And it seems funny to you. It might seem funny.
I don't agree with some of the...
And that's fine to not agree with it.
There's two sides to every story,
right?
But
we're here today because the side that has been agreed with was mine. Through the complaints process. We're at an informal agreement. So it's like the day that you guys came to my house and threatened to kick my door in, with no information from Child Protection Services that you admitted. If I would have had that recorded that day.
Dry, do you really want me to go into all that on recording?
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not a private person. I don't want to be private. I'm not talking about your personal information. There's plenty that
but I don't want to talk about yours either.
But that was an instance.
You know what I mean?
Let's talk about the microcosm of the instance. I even said to you, I thanked you.
Can I just ask one thing before we even get into this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what do you want from me?
I want you to understand that the way that you act sometimes is not acceptable. And because you think that it's okay, it doesn't mean that it aligns with policy. Just because you think that when you smile at someone and you laugh and you joke with your buddies that you're around, that you think that that's okay, it doesn't align with the RCMP's policies that you signed up for. I didn't sign up for it. That's why we're here.
And what are you looking to get out of me?
That the next time, if I do have an interaction with you, or I witness an interaction with you, that your attitude towards the public will be different.
The last time we dealt with each other...
You laughed at me.
No, I didn't.
You joked around. Absolutely.
No,
actually, no, the last time that you dealt with me, I had a welfare check on my son.
Yes.
The time prior to that, which there's a video of.
And the time with your son, how was that?
It was over the phone. I didn't have a physical interaction with you. I did a call for service. I gave you the information. I hung up. Your partner called me back and gave me the information in return. My interaction with you was completely limited. I would say it was fine in the moment.
Mm-hmm. So what time did you have a problem with? The second time or the first time?
The first time when you threatened to fight me. When you said that if I touched you, you would arrest me, and then your partner walked up to me and bumped right into me And I said, look, he just bumped into me. What are you going to do? And you said, nothing. He's my partner. When you stood in my walkway for probably 5 minutes as I said, please leave my property after your call for service had been completed. You had spoken to me, Amber, and seen my child. And you stared at my bike, and you guys threatened me with municipal fines. And
I did not.
And well, you guys, I'm saying you as a whole, right? The situation, I was threatened with municipal fines. I was told that over and over that I was going to get a flat tire on my motorcycle. You inspected my 50cc moped, and then Chetwynd stated that he was going to get me.
Well, I don't think I inspected it. I actually liked it.
Okay, so
I think I told you that.
The day after you did.
I think I told you that day too.
Oh, you may have, but if you liked it, then you knew, you at least visualized it. You had seen what it was, and we had a conversation about my bike that day and the legality.
One thing I will say about that day is I will take ownership and say that yes, I did antagonize you, but it went both ways. As a police officer, I shouldn't have done that.
When did I begin to antagonize?
Huh?
When did I begin to antagonize?
Once you came out of your house.
I
was leaving.
Which was when? At the end?
At the end, at the tail end.
And had I been antagonized up until that point?
I don't think so.
So Chetwynd didn't say that I was the one that was causing the disturbance. Chetwynd didn't state that I was the one that wasted anybody's time in that situation.
Well, I can tell you right now, I wasn't listening to what he
well,
was
you
saying.
should. He's your partner, right? He's your subordinate.
Sometimes I'm focused on your bike and I'm not listening to what he says.
I think that's a bad excuse.
Well, I don't think it's an excuse at all.
Your job is policing. Like when you were over at the house over here, you were worried about his safety.
Who, Chetwynd's?
Yes.
I'm worried about all my members' safety.
Right. So you were so focused on my bike that you didn't hear him talk. How were you concerned about his safety in that moment?
Which moment?
When he was bantering with me to the point that you don't recall what he said.
Well, I didn't really feel you were a threat.
Okay. That's valid.
To be honest. You know what I mean?
On what scale does RCMP lie on dangerous jobs in Canada?
Sorry, say that again?
Do you know, out of a ranking, if you were to rank all the jobs in Canada,
yeah,
where does RCMP or police officer or law enforcement rank on that list? That you would think, the most dangerous job. Where would you think that police officer lands?
I don't know.
Would you say it's quite high? Would you say it's maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4?
I don't know.
Would you say
it depends on the experiences of each police officer?
No, as a whole,
right?
No,
you know what I mean?
No, statistically, it's statistics.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't look at statistics.
Would you be surprised to know that it's below? It's not even the top 10 in Canada.
Wow,
But I'm saying
no, it wouldn't shock me one bit.
No,
no.
Would you be surprised that my profession is in the top 5?
I don't know what your profession is.
You do know what my profession is.
No, I don't.
I've told you multiple times. I'm a business owner. I'm in a carpentry business.
Oh, well, I do.
I'm a carpenter. I'm involved in construction trades.
Wow, I knew you owned your own business. I didn't know what it was.
It's a construction business. It's carpentry trades. I'm a carpenter. So my job is like number 2, most dangerous jobs. So your concern for safety in those moments is officer safety isn't anything. Public safety should be the thing. And like the day that you were at that house over there, you said to me, I don't like dealing with people like you. What does that mean?
Sorry, say it again?
You said to me the last interaction that we physically had with each other at the house over here, when you were dealing with the domestic disturbance involving a teenage boy and his parents. You said to me, I don't like dealing with people like you.
I never said that.
Or it may have been worded differently. It's on video. It says, I don't like my job on days when I have to deal with people like you.
Is that word for word what I said?
It may be word for word. It may not be verbatim. It is something that we could...
Because, Dryden, do I think you're a nice person? And do I like you? 100%. Do I think there's times where you just want to get me going and get me riled up? 100%.
But what type of person does that mean? What
I don't know, to be honest with you. Someone that antagonizes me. You enjoy getting me riled up.
I've never encountered you on my own accord. I've never sought you out.
No?
I know quite a bit about you.
What do you know?
I know
good things, bad things,
I know where
what?
you live. I know what you drive. I know what your wife's name is. I know who your neighbors
What's
are.
my wife's name?
Mallory.
And how do you know, where do I live?
In Canaan.
And how do you know these things?
Because I'm from here, dude. I'm from Tuscan. My whole family's from Tuscan. My last name's my dad's last name. My mom's last name is Bork, with a Q-U-E.
So we're here to get along, right?
I've always tried to get along with you, man.
Me and you both have.
I don't think you have.
I think it goes both ways.
I'm not on the clock.
What do you mean you're not?
I'm not dictated by policy, right? I say hi to you. I wish you a good day. I want you to be
I've done the
happy
same
and
thing.
safe. After being a dick.
I don't think I was being a dick, but...
And like, that's my verbiage, right? That's the word that I choose to use.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel about it. Like when I'm being mocked.
At the end of the day, Dryden, do I like you? Yes. As a person? Yes. 1,000%. At the calls? I even liked you at the calls. Even afterwards, I told people at work, I was just like, he's a great guy. If I wanted to go shoot the shit with him, I would.
And I appreciate that. I do. And I talk the same about you.
And do I enjoy our banter back and forth? Even though sometimes does it cross the line? Sure. But yes, I enjoy our banter.
Me too.
It's witty, you're smart. Most people I deal with, I shouldn't say most, but some people we deal with, they don't have the same wit as you and comebacks. So I appreciate the banter back and forth. To be honest with you, I enjoy it.
And I appreciate yours. I do.
Well, I like that.
I do. Now, do I need to hold you accountable? Yes. As an individual, I need to hold you accountable. So
and there's a process for that. You follow the process.
And that's what I do.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like I said, I don't come to your house. You know? I don't stalk you. I don't stalk any of you guys.
Yeah.
I know where 90% of you guys live. I know a lot of information about this because this is my community. Like I said, it's not because I go out to search it, it's because people see my videos, they know what I do, and they say, that guy's my neighbor.
Well, I don't think anyone says that about me, but...
Jevin Titus?
I'm very secluded. He's not my neighbor.
He lives up the road from you.
Way down the road.
He still knows you.
That's fine. A lot of people
see what I'm
know.
saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like,
but
you know where I live, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No.
Like, you're not coming by and creeping at my house.
No.
But I've never done that to you. I've never pulled you over. I've never come to your house. I've never, ever tried to antagonize you.
I don't think I've done that to you.
But every time that you're at my house, you do antagonize me. Like you said, you admitted that you antagonized me.
The first time. The second time, I don't think.
So you came to my house and
the second time, I think I was really good.
The second time on my motorcycle? Absolutely. Your attitude?
For when? The motorcycle
When
one?
you pulled me over.
Oh, I didn't know that was you. I can say that with all honesty.
And like I said to Chris, I was like, I really wish that when the lights came on in the vehicle, that the in-car audio started recording.
Yeah.
Because I would really like to know the conversation.
If you would have known right away that I didn't know it was you.
Did Chetty?
Chetty wasn't there. I didn't have Chetwin in the
Are you sure?
car. 1,000%.
Was there somebody in the front seat?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Constable Tebow.
Tebow. What?
Sarah, the female that was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was there.
Okay. I also find it a little bit suspicious, and we talked about this portion of it. The fact that you went right away and told Schaffner about it. That's like, that seems a little bit weird to me.
For which one?
Where you pulled me over on my bike. Because you were like, I called her the next morning.
Because I didn't know it was you, and as soon as I pulled you over, I went and told Shaft right away. Because I had already known that you made the complaint about the first time.
Was that the thought process? You were like, I'm going to beat the complaint. I want to talk to them before.
No. To be honest with you, Dryden, I don't care about complaints.
I think you should.
They don't cross my mind, really.
But, like, I think it should be as, like, if I
went to, look at it this way, Dryden. If I went to every call worried about getting a complaint, I wouldn't be good at my job. I'd be focused on other things.
You shouldn't worry about complaints.
You know what I mean?
But when complaints come through in regards to you, I think you should worry about.
And I can honestly say in my 15-year career that you were my first complaint.
I hope so.
You were. All honesty. I've done this job for 15 years, and you were my first complaint that I got.
Now, I hope that's not a sign of how the world is changing.
What do you mean?
That in the past, people aren't very knowledgeable on how to make complaints, in the process of making complaints, and we spoke about that, and that knowledge is becoming more prevalent in the public. So I hope that is an ode towards you in your policing, and not a misnomer and a red herring of the public's ignorance of filing complaints.
Well, I think it's probably a bit of both, if I'm being honest.
Because
more people, like you said, know how to make complaints now, which is a good thing.
I think it's a great thing.
I love body-worn cameras. I wish I had one on right now.
I do too.
Every day.
I wish you had one on at all times, that you couldn't mute, that you couldn't turn off, that had to record the entire interaction from start to finish, that was available for an ATIP application for me to receive.
I agree with you. I'm with you on it.
It's supposed to be coming, unfortunately.
I hope so, because then we wouldn't have any confusion, right?
None whatsoever.
None.
Which would be amazing.
None. There wouldn't be a your side or a my side. There would be a side. There would be a side, right? And with technology, it's available. We can do it. We have the storage space to maintain it. We have everything now. It's just the ability.
I'm working on the logistics of it.
Mm-hmm. Like the rollout.
We're a big organization, right? Anytime there's...
Well, you are and you're not, right? You are and you're not.
When it comes to a police force.
Like on a
I understand that. Like, you are and you're not. Like, it's one of those things that I've looked into the numbers. It's around 150,000 members across the country in the RCMP, right? And I've looked into these numbers, and that's a rough average. It fluctuates by year. I think that's more of like a 2019 number, to be honest. But
I thought it was less than that.
But it's like I say, it's a fluctuating number. So and the reason I've looked into these numbers is because, like, it's a comment that I've made before. I've said, like, I'm your boss, right? Like, and you've said, like, that's hilarious. You're not my boss. How are you my boss? Because let's talk about this mathematically, though, right? Let's talk about this mathematically, right? So as a populace, we have about 350 million people, right? And there's about, we'll say, 150,000 RCMP officers. So if you guys pay your own salaries, right? And you're paying 25% tax off of the income that you make, well then, every police officer that paid 25% tax, and the week after, they can only pay 25% of the police force off their own taxes. Mm-hmm. And then a week later, they can only pay 12.5%. Or 6%, sorry, or 6.25%, right? And the week after that, it's a quarter of that, and the week after that, it's a quarter of that, right? The only reason the organization is able to sustain salaries of millions of dollars a year is because the public foots 90% of the bill. We don't pay you in total. Of course you pay taxes. Of course, we all pay taxes, right? But for the entire system to work, we can't just have police officers paying taxes for their own profit. Like, your taxes are also going to healthcare.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to schooling. Mm-hmm. It's going to roads programs. It's going to infrastructure, right?
Social security, all that stuff.
Yeah. On duty, you're not voting as Corporal Pottie. You're voting as Shayne Pottie, the public, individual Shayne Pottie. We vote our members of parliament into power, and they are the ones that dictate who gets the funds and how they receive them and who stays in power. We, as the people, and you are the people. You are the people when you're not in uniform and you're not on duty. Mm-hmm. So you're your own boss when you're not on duty.
Well, I wish sometimes. But yes.
You are.
Yep.
You control the populace. You are a popular vote. You are a member of the public, right? Yep. And as a servant of the public, you're supposed to serve the public, right? Not disservice the public. And I think sometimes with the way that you allow your subordinates, because Sean Chetwynd is your subordinate, correct? He's a constable and you're a corporal.
Yeah.
So you would be his direct supervisor, or a supervisor to him, a superior member of the force.
Yeah, I'm not a supervisor right now, but yes.
So,
I have been.
in the instances where you've seen his conduct rise to a level that is inappropriate, wouldn't it be your obligation to stop him?
Well, that's why we have the public complaint system. That's why we have these systems in place.
But why do we have the rank system?
For supervision.
So what are we supervising if the public complaint supervises us?
Well, I supervise the public complaint. So the public complaint comes to me, typically. And then I look at the public complaint and investigate it. But in this case, it was reservist board.
If you're involved in it, obviously you're not.
Okay, so
I can't be working 24/7, right?
Yeah, so why wouldn't you, instead of having rank and file, why wouldn't we have officers of the law and then a complaints reviewer? Why does the rank of corporal come with complaints reviewer as your job?
Well, it could be me, it could be a sergeant, it could be a staff. It could be anyone,
so
right?
what's the point of having these ranks then in the day-to-day operation of the force?
Yeah, it's like a
for internal supervision.
Yeah, definitely.
It's for you to step in and say, hey man, that's enough. Like you're my subordinate, I'm your supervisor. This conduct is too far. I understand rank and file.
There you go.
Like, so in those instances, I think in the future.
Well, I do.
Actions speak louder than words, right?
Yep.
I hope so. But in the past, I've seen that you don't. And many of people have seen that you don't.
From the video?
Yes. So that one video that you have almost has 3,000 views.
Jeez. Which one? The first one or the second one?
The one at the.
Oh, there was no one for our first interaction.
So that's why I say it's not my goal to record you.
You can record me all you want. I really don't mind.
Well, you do mind because you said you do mind at the start.
Well, if I'm in uniform, you can record me all you want. But if I'm not in uniform, I kind of don't like it. But it is what it is.
It is, and this is like we have.
And I'm fine with it.
Okay. I at this point I wouldn't really care. It's my right to.
Well, I can walk away if I cared.
You could.
Obviously,
and then
obviously I don't care enough to walk away.
It
you know
would
what I mean?
escalate to a higher complaint process at that point.
Well,
because that's my recourse, right?
That would be my sure. But are you going to do it because I don't want to be videotaped?
No, because you wouldn't have the conversation with me.
But I'm willing to have any conversation with you.
Except when that's videotaped. In that certain circumstance.
We're videotaping right now. I could get all my points.
You understand what I'm talking about. Like in that hypothetical where you walked away and it was because I was recording. Well, then I would have I got up and walked away?
No, what are we talking about?
That's right? What I'm saying. So. See, and that's kind of that banter, like the unwillingness to actually listen. Like you were just very unwilling to listen to me. Like I was stating in those hypotheticals and you were like, what are you talking about at the very end of your sentence and kind of snickered. I think that you need to listen. You need to listen. Like when I told Riley at the house, when you asked him, he made a comment and he said, oh, I just run from him. And I was like, Riley, don't say that stuff to him because he's not your friend. Like that could, in the next event, if he ever sees you, that could be something that he uses, that he throws you in cuffs right away because the last time he talked to you, you told him that you would run from him. And you said, oh, I'm not threatening to arrest him, I'm not. And I said to you, Pottie, listen to what I said. I'm not saying that, I'm saying in the event. And then you're like, oh, I'm not saying that, old bird, or something like that. And it's like you didn't listen to what, and you can review the video. The video's on YouTube. You can review it and you can hear exactly what I said and you can hear exactly what you said back. So it's not a matter of he said, she said. Like I'm not a verbatim speaker all the time. I might not say it exactly how you said it, but you misconstrued what I said to him and you turned it into a joke. Just like you just did.
Well, I don't think I turned it. Are you done? I don't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead. It's not interrupting, it's interjecting.
We were talking about me getting up and walking away and not being willing to be on camera. Well, I didn't do that. I'm still sitting here. I'm still on camera.
I think we're beyond that.
So that's why I said what I said. Sorry if you took it as me being arrogant or
I appreciate that.
belittling you or anything like that. That honestly wasn't my intention.
Because we're not here for me, right? We're not here for my conduct.
No.
Like, the complaint isn't against me. And another thing that you would mention to me. So I'm college educated, right? I don't know what type of education that you have. Like, you may be college educated. You may have got out of high school and went directly to depot and did your 28 weeks and then went in the force as a trainee and worked with somebody until you were allowed to be on your own. I don't know your education level, but you did allude to me that you've never taken a communication course. Is that true?
What does that mean?
Communication course,
like what kind?
Like a course where you learn communication, like the elements of communication, like how to speak with people, how body language is presented, speaking with people from different dialects and backgrounds. Have you ever taken a course as such? Because I've taken two. I've taken COM 101 and COM 102 at college levels, and those were both 6-month courses, and learning about communication, how communication works and how to properly communicate with people. So have you ever taken a course like that?
No, not a 6-month course, no.
How long of a communication course would you say you've taken?
Well, if you consider the RCMP, the 6 months at depot, like, they teach us everything.
Okay, but how long
do you count? Do you personally count that as a communication course?
Because I took carpentry for 2 years, but I took communication inside of carpentry. There were different courses, right? So you didn't focus on communications for 6 months. You might have focused on driving. You might have focused on shooting, on rights, on law, on things like that. How long would you say that you did?
For a solely based communication course, never. I've never taken one in my life.
Would you say that's a valuable thing? After me explaining,
I think there's a lot of things that are valuable.
Me
but yes,
explaining
it's valuable.
roughly of what it would be, especially in the role that you possess.
Would it be valuable? Yes. There would be a lot of things that are valuable to do my job.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah,
because it was something that you said you had never taken it, and it seemed like that would be a valuable course to take for an officer who is. I took it as a tradesperson. I'm required to hit nails, and I have communication, right? We have individuals that are driving around with guns that have never taken a communication course, potentially.
Not a specific one.
Exactly, a specific one. Like,
answer that.
Oh, sure.
Like, we could dabble into
Just see who it is.
communication.
I think it went over right.
We could dabble into communication that's fine, for 2 or 3 hours, and that wouldn't really teach us anything, right? We would have an understanding of basic communication and maybe some fundamentals, but we wouldn't have an understanding of communication whatsoever if we just focused on a 24-hour course or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer that courses can't teach you everything. Also,
no,
you know what I mean.
Not.
So
as me, because I was in a trade school. Like,
yeah.
I deal with the apprentice program. My 2 years of education were just the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
I find you learn more hands-on.
And I agree. When people ask me if it was a valuable course to take, I usually tell them no. That you could have went, especially with carpentry and the trades, you could go and find a first-year apprentice, get paid for that instead of paying the government and paying an institution to teach you things that you could learn on the job and learn in a more efficient way. Yeah. The valuable portions of school for me were, like I say, communication and the math aspect. A lot of the individuals that are in trades nowadays are older. A lot of them, especially in carpentry, don't even read or write. And they don't know how to do the theory side of it. And the theory side is a way that you can expedite your productivity, right?
Yeah.
So there are valuable portions of school and there are invaluable portions of school. But if you want to look at it as like you can't learn anything, well, you're not going to learn anything at all because you're not of the mentality that you want to, right? Like if you want to take something from something, you will, right? From anything.
Yeah. One of our organizational competencies is continuous learning. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One of the
I had a teacher that I grew up with, Mr. Marcel Donchma. I know his kids very well. I've spent weekends at the camp across the lake with them growing up, right? He was my communications teacher. That man has probably 50 degrees. He's a teacher at NSCC. His tuition is provided to him free of charge. So he just goes and takes night classes every single day.
Wow.
And he was my communication teacher. And that was my favorite class when I was there, because it was somebody that I knew, it was somebody that I connected with, and it made it a very easy course for me to take. And I took a lot of insight from that course. And not only that, when I lived in Ontario for some time, and that's where I finished my high school education, and I was offered law courses when I was in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a completely different education system than I had here, right? Like, I learned into basic law, we read into that. Like, I was incarcerated for a period of 7 months where I self-represented through family court, I self-represented through provincial court and superior court. And at the end of it, Judge Burrell commended me for the job that I did, and I walked out of the courthouse.
That's a good result.
I'm not an idiot.
I never said you were.
No.
But your partner has.
Well, I can't speak for him.
But you can correct
You know what I mean?
You can correct him.
Well, yeah.
And
I don't supervise him anymore.
And that's fine. That's fine. That's why I said, like, he got the formal complaints as well as the informal, because at least that way I know he's going to get the training as well.
Yeah.
As the potential outcome of the formal complaint.
Yeah.
Right? I don't believe that you should have a stain on your record that is a glaring stain for something as simple as this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think this resolution was the best resolution that we could have come to.
Yep.
And I hope that in the future we can move past any past experiences, and just be a normal community, because, like, I'm from here, right? Are you from Yarmouth?
No, not originally. No.
So, and most officers that come here aren't.
No.
Don't make my community worse than it already is. It's a bad fucking shitty hole. There's people dying, there's people going missing, there's people getting murdered, there's people having their bodies burned, there's people getting robbed, there's crack addicts, there's drug addicts, there's child abuse, there's prostitution, there's sex trafficking in a community of 10,000. Don't make my community any worse than it already is. I'm trying to raise kids here, and so are you.
Well, and I can say, with certainty that, because I've worked with Corporal Pottie for a while now, that he is trying to do the opposite.
I know that you do a lot for this agency. You do a lot for the agency. Do a lot to help the agency, right? And if that means finding, like we talked about, bad officers, bad apples, right? Mm-hmm. Would you rather have 10 bad police officers backing you up on a dangerous call, or none?
It's a loaded question.
Can you say that again?
Would you rather have 10 bad police officers back you up on a dangerous call, or have...
I'd rather go by myself.
Good. I would hope so. And I hope...
Yeah.
I hope that's not an answer that you're saying for the camera and for Chris.
No.
And for me.
And I can say the same thing. Shayne and I share that same sentiment. We would rather those people stay at home.
Because every time you've showed up with Chetwin, you've been in more danger than if you were alone. He escalates, he antagonizes, he continues, he's willing to jump out of his car, he's willing to sit there and yell at you through the wind. Yeah.
I could say the first time we had our interactions with each other, yeah, I apologize for that interaction.
Fine.
100%.
That's fine. And I think we've already...
And you've already apologized to me, so
that's... Yeah.
It is what it is. Right? Yeah. The second time, I felt like I was pretty good. Not bad.
Okay. I disagree. Okay. And that's fine. Yeah. Right? Like,
we're not going to agree on everything.
No, of course not. And it's like... We don't have to, like...
No.
We're not the agreeable party, right? We're here because it has been agreed upon,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, it didn't come to you didn't break the law.
No.
You didn't commit a crime, but, like, your conduct arose to a policy violation. Like, if it didn't, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right? So, just don't do it again, man. Like,
well, I hope we don't ever have to deal with each other again. But if we do, I can promise you that things will be different.
I hope so. I hope so. And I look forward to never having that encounter. And if I do, I hope it is what we talked about today.
Mm-hmm. I
really do.
So do I.
So I think we're at an understanding. I think so. So I'm going to end my recording. Okay?
Good.
Good.